Welcome back to PHIL 2103, Introduction to Philosophy and Ethics. Now, in today's lecture, we're going to be getting to the and ethics portion of the course. Even though, as we've mentioned in previous lectures, ethics is a branch of philosophy, it is a subset within philosophy, it is a very important one to look at on its own. For the very simple reason that you deal with ethical claims every single day. And you want to know, even if deep down inside, what it looks like to be a good person. And so ethics makes you answer certain questions like, what does it mean to be a good person? Or what would a good and perfect society look like? One of the things that you're going to find in this ethical understanding is that there are different viewpoints, and how you understand and how you see the world, that worldview that you look through, will determine what your ethical lens is shaped like. So for example, a question I always ask in class is, would it be ethical to euthanize an elderly person who has terminal cancer and serves no further purpose or function to society? Now, how you answer that question goes back to that quote by C.S. Lewis, what you see depends a great deal on where you're standing. It also depends on what sort of person you are. The way you answer that question is going to be shaped by your worldview and by your lens. So for example, if an off-duty police officer were to see a robbery taking place, but because he's with his young daughter was not to engage in the crime, did that man act morally? Was it an ethical action that he took? And is there a difference between ethics and morality? These are some of the things that we're going to see in our introduction to ethics. So a couple opening thoughts. First of all, most people associate doing well in life with being a good person. We don't all define what it means to be a good person in the same way, but we do tend to hold that shared belief that someone who is doing well must be a good person. And most people would not want to live in a society where morality was unimportant. They just tend to want a society that has their view on morality as important. Ethics are extremely important, though, because they give direction to both people and societies alike. Each one of us has a moral compass built into us that is shaped and changed by our worldview and by our experiences in life. And it is that moral compass or that ethical compass that directs us as individuals and society as a whole. The other thing is, we face moral choices every single day. Whether it's opening up your cash register at work and deciding whether or not you should take $1 or $2 for your own personal needs, whether it's seeing someone drop a dollar out of their pocket walking by and whether or not you pick up and keep that or you flag them and give it back to them. These are just simple examples of things that you encounter every single day. But these are also key in facing the hot button issues. You'll notice as we go into this course that we will be tackling some majorly controversial issues in society today. And we're doing so because I want you to have that ethical understanding, that ethical worldview shaped and formed deep down inside of you. And in order to do that, you're going to have to wrestle through some of these issues to understand where you fall and where a proper Christian understanding or view falls on certain things. The basis on which you make your moral choices can be as important as the choices themselves. As I mentioned, that worldview, that lens that you have through which you see all of life is going to dictate how you respond to things. And in those moments of crisis, when you're less controlled, when you're less able to monitor your own reactions to things, is where that lens, that worldview will most present itself. This is tied back to the worldview concept. So it's important to understand then, when it comes to morality, there are two seats of ultimate ethical authority. The first one of these is going to say that man alone is ultimate authority. This goes back to an individualistic or individualism system, saying that we alone control our destinies. The second would be the gods, that little g God, that provide an ultimate moral compass for us, and by which all ethical standards are measured. If one is a naturalist, to say that nature controls, or if one is a Christian that says that God with a big G, or if one is a polytheist, one who believes in multiple gods, whatever that second authority, whatever that God-shaped authority is, will dictate how we see life and how we respond to life. Naturalism and postmodernism will state that moral knowledge may be the same as beliefs, and that these things are not verifiable empirically. You can't touch, taste, see, or feel an ethical compass or an ethical worldview. But it always goes back to who is on that throne of your heart, or what is on that throne of your heart. If it is yourself and you are the ultimate seat of authority, then your ethics will flow from yourself. If it is a God, or if it is the Christian God, then that God figure will be where your ethics flow from. This leads to the notion, if you are the center of your throne, that what is right for me is right for me, and what's right for you may be right for you. And postmodernism holds strongly to that idea. In a postmodern system, it says that perhaps there are no such things as universally binding moral absolutes. This is something you're going to have to wrestle with, not only in your reading, but in upcoming board post and possibly even your test. Are there such things as universally binding moral absolutes? One exercise I always like to give in class is to say, what are 3 morals that have been upheld by all societies across all ages, across all times and eras? What are 3 ideas that could be gone all the way back to, no matter how far back in time we go, or no matter if we go out to a society that is in the middle of nowhere, what are some ideas that everybody tends to hold? This is your basic question that you're going to need to answer, and this is your introduction to ethics.